Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of For What It's Nerd. Episode 8, I think we're on now, which is very exciting in and of itself. There has been a few bumps along the way, obviously, up to this point so far, including missing a few episodes, which I do apologize for. Primarily why I'm mentioning that, though, is because that's kind of what I want to discuss today, hitting bumps as a content creator, right? I think it's something that every content creator faces at one point or another, and maybe not even content creators, creatives in general. And I imagine even beyond that, but let's kind of focus on creatives and content creators today. And what I mean by that is, a point where you feel like you just can't go anymore. And despite the fact that you have to get up and continue to go because either it's your livelihood or it's your dream or it's your passion or a million other reasons as to why you're creating, you feel a vocation for it, who knows. But it's a struggle, right? We all know it's a struggle. It's a struggle when you're trying to balance a work life with streaming, and then trying to do everything else, trying to run social medias. I mean, it is exhausting, and so I can't even imagine what it's like as a full-time job as well, where you're constantly having to innovate, because it's essentially what makes sure you get paid at the end of a month or the end of however long. But I can only speak to my experience, and what I can say is that I am in a big burnout period right now, which is, you probably think is funny considering I'm literally looking at you now recording a video. But it's different because I'm talking about the thing that I'm annoyed about. You're basically my therapist today, so deal with that. But no. So yeah, it's been hard recently. I don't know why. I don't know why necessarily, because there's things going on that's definitely need to be addressed, but can't fully be addressed because a lot of them are in real life, and it's just a matter of dealing with it type thing. It's one of those situations. But basically, I'm upside down at the moment, and it's becoming very hard to so much as dredge myself in front of a computer, even to play a game just for myself. I don't know. It could be, and I don't know if that's because I have a laptop and I have a Steam Deck and I have books to read, and so I'm trying. I feel like I'm trying to persuade myself away from the computer without realizing it, which is super annoying. Because what am I doing this for if not to try and be on the computer more, in a sense, because I want to make this into something where I can be doing podcasts 24/7, be doing gaming 24/7, streaming, blah 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 blah. That's kind of the goal. Obviously, again, not 24/7. I think everything needs to be in moderation, but you know what I mean. I want to do this more than I currently am, but I think I'm kind of in that phase of self-deprecation that you get into, where you go, well, if I can't do it properly, I'm not going to do it at all, which I don't think is always necessarily the case. I think some things that's very much true. If you're not going to do it right, don't bother. But with this, it's not about doing it properly. It's about the fact that if I don't do it, and this is a big thing that a lot of people say, if you don't do this kind of thing, if you don't try and keep trying and pushing and pushing and pushing, you're not going to get anywhere. So it's a difficult one, because I can feel everything trying, and myself, I can feel my subconscious trying to almost backburn everything I've been working for the past 2 years, primarily because I feel like I'm not advancing at the rate that I would like to, and that's not something that's anyone's fault. Well, in fact, if it was anyone's, it would be mine. But yeah, it's a weird one. It's hard to feel like you're almost sort of half giving up on your dreams, right? Because whilst everything that I've done is not wasteful, it's still there. If people want to enjoy it, they can. It feels as if I say today I'm giving up, then it's all been moot. It's all been a struggle of 2 years, and a lot of tribulations that's come with that, for me to turn around and say, nah, I'm not doing it anymore. Now, I'd almost be fine with that if I had something else to kind of, drive at to, but career-wise, I'm not exactly where I want to be at the moment either. primarily because, as I said before, I would like almost for this to become a career at some point. Maybe not exactly, I'm not saying that I want Paralysis Players to be one of the biggest YouTube channels on the planet, or even For What It's Nerd, be one of the biggest podcasts. But I guess what I more mean is I'd like to be in the gaming field in some capacity. I'd like it, let's say if I got to a certain followership on YouTube, then suddenly some doors open for me and I get to do something fun with that, I'm not asking to be huge. I'm not asking even to get anywhere, really. I'm not asking for anything. I'm trying my best on my own. But if I were to want something, I just want something to come out of this that feels better than mundanity, which I know isn't necessarily a word, but it's the mundaneness. I don't want a mundane life. And I think a lot of people can attest to that, especially in the modern era, because, we're in a world now where it feels almost incredibly pointless to toil away our entire lives and not enjoy life, which is funny because I hear from a lot of people of an old generation that, well, that's just the way life is. That's what you've got to do. You don't. Obviously some people do, and some people are happy with that, and all that type of stuff, but you don't. These markets, these social media markets, for example, are spanning exponentially at the moment, and there are job positions. I mean, for example, at the moment I am very heavily invested in the idea of, if I can't do this, like podcasts, etc., I'd love to kind of pivot and do a community manager role for a company. Dealing with their socials and stuff. I think I could have some fun with that, some kind of decent input to put there, especially if it's something nearer the gaming sphere or nearer the nerd sphere. But yeah, so that's kind of something I'm looking at. And what I'm trying to say by that is I get from LinkedIn, I get a million different things trawling across my emails, my feed all the time, talking about how they need people for these types of positions. So that they're there. And I think a lot of people think, oh, you have to just basically go and work in the most boring ass, basic ass job that you can find just because it pays good money. And it's no, I don't think, I think, I'm not saying that everyone will get exactly their dream job, because that's not life. I think anyone has to accept that. Some people want to be in a job that they don't like, but I think the majority of people can find a job that they like, or at least tolerate, or find accommodating to their other stuff that they do. And I kind of want to get there. I think I want to get there soon. Just because I want to spend more time on which sounds very weird to say, I want to spend more time on the internet. I want to spend more time, doing my content. I want to be able to go to having 2 videos a week on my YouTube channel. I want to go to having extra content coming on this channel as well as the podcast every week, when I'm able. But I feel almost flaky, because I've been taking a few weeks off here and there, but it's because it's just been really bad timing. And if really bad timing hits me, I'm stuffed, because how do I recuperate time that I just isn't there? It's not the matter of, oh, well, I lost an hour here, I lost an hour there. It's if a few days get away from me because of work or because of, extra life stuff or mental health, rejuvenation, or otherwise I'm kind of taking some time to kind of process my I was going to say condition, but I don't have a condition, my issues, my current condition, should I say, is a lot. I'm suddenly finding myself with, oh, I didn't get a video out, what am I going to do instead? So it's that weird loop of I try and take time to help I try and take time, I'll speak properly, I promise. Nope, not happening. I take time to deal with my mental state and try and make that better, and then because I do that, I impact my content, which makes my mental state either back to where it was or worse, which is it's one of those things. It's the horrible treadmill that I think a lot of content creators end up on. And I'm nothing new. Everything I'm saying, someone has said on the internet before, in why I quit YouTube video, or a why streaming is incredibly difficult video, or all that type of stuff. But I think what I wanted to do is just come on here and say it, primarily so that you guys know that I am thinking about it, so that I'm aware of it, so that I don't want you guys to think that I'm flaky and I'm really bad at content creation because I care a lot, right? And it's hard to kind of portray that when you're flunking out a lot, almost. And I think that's the thing when you get into these kind of really bad mindsets, it's very easy to look like you don't care. Even though, funnily enough, my real issue is that I care too much, and I worry constantly. And I mean, no one's really thought that no one's applying pressure to me. I've not had like a comment on a video saying, why haven't you uploaded this week? Or I haven't had someone message me saying, when is your next upload? Or why aren't you streaming at the moment? Like, I've not had that pressure put on me by anyone. It's just that I put that pressure on myself because I assume those things, which in its own way is ridiculous. But, you know, yeah, I don't know. It's a hard one. It's a difficult situation to deal with because how do you tell yourself that you're working hard enough when the thing that you do or want to do is by definition about have you worked hard, work harder? Because, you know, I liken it to, I always found this with my university work is that like university, you have so many, you know, for me, I did English literature and you have so many books to read and you have so many lit reviews to read and you have so many of this and so many of that, that in reality, you could literally have spent 3 years, which is how long my course was, just reading constantly. Like you would have not read enough still. Like, obviously you would eventually hit a cap where like, oh, okay, you've gotten a grade, but to fully understand a topic, it could take you months, maybe even the years. So at that point, you feel like actually anytime I've stopped working, I am letting myself, my kind of ability to finish this course or to finish this course in a good stead, depreciate basically. And I almost feel that's kind of similar to how I found content creation. You know, this isn't like a job where you go to 9 to 5, like from 9 to 5 and then finish. This is a job that you could literally get up in the middle of the night and make a video. Or you could almost tangibly. I mean, I know some creators who do this. I know a lot of creators who will like film 3 videos in a day, and then they won't film for the rest of the week. They'll like literally just not ruin themselves, but they'll like literally just take a day, chunk that off, and say this day is for recording. They'll record their videos for that week, and then like they'll do nothing else. Or they'll like some content creators literally just pull it from their stream and put it straight on as their stream or small edits, etc. Because it's all about time and how much can you do, and if you can stream more, then stream more, but also you can make that into videos, submit that into videos. And it's like it's this whole thing of how much time can you maximize on. And I think this is like it's a very capitalist thing, which I know I'm not going to sit in here and I'm not going to start a whole political debate, but it's a very capitalist mindset to be like, hey, let's monetize everything you do. Like every single time you post a TikTok, it's about money. Or, well, not finance, not necessarily money, but it's about getting a job. It's about getting this. It's about getting that out of it. I mean, it's weird because for me, even reading and stuff is that because like, so I read because I want to get better at being a reader, so I'm a better writer. I write because obviously I want to get a better writer. Everything I watch is to get inspiration. Like, and yes, that's not necessarily unwholesome of itself, so to speak. It's not the same as like, oh, I'm posting this TikTok to make money, which obviously I don't do. I put a TikTok out there because I want to grow my following of people who like Star Wars, Marvel, etc. But what I'm trying to say is that everything seems to have a purpose these days. It has to have a purpose. You can't do something stupid for the sake of being stupid, because if you do that, you're wasting time. And that's me. That's me down to a T. That's who I am and how I stress about things. I can't just be stupid for a day because I'll feel like, what did I do? And not necessarily in the fact that, like, don't get me wrong, I enjoy some things that I do. I can play a game and be stupid but the stupid already is like right there is monetizable, or like not monetizable but capitalizable, because I can now anything stupid I say on stream is perfect for a video or perfect for a clip on Twitch, or constantly thinking, oh, how can I utilize this? It's really damaging. I can't just sit in front of the television and not think about stuff in terms of, oh, well, I could do that for this, or it's even down to the level of like, it's even down to the level of like certain games. I mean, I've talked about this before, I think, but I've held back certain games on occasion that I'm desperate to play because I'm kind of hoping I get to play it on stream. Then I don't play it on stream. Then it's sat for 3 months. Then I don't play it. Then there's another game that's already come out. Then I do the same thing again, rinse, repeat. And you ruin gaming for yourself at the same time as content creation. And you kind of ruin, I've found this as well recently, is that like I'm seeing a lot of discourse on Twitter and, etc. about Marvel and Star Wars. It just really ruins my mood. And I'm trying to stay off Twitter because of it. I'm not doing a good job, but I'm trying. And yeah, it's just that kind of thing of like, what do you do? What do you do with it? Because like, people are gonna have their opinions, and I have no issue with that. But like, how do I put it? When you get so involved with something, that you want to hear about it like almost constantly, or you do something in relation to it, like you make content off of it or something like that, it becomes very quickly something you don't love and something you actually find to be the cause of a problem, right? Like it becomes a thing where you're like, oh gosh, not this again. Oh, I can't deal with this. And you find yourself to almost either be problematic or toxic or something, because at the end of it, you've gotten so sick of the problem that you become part of it, and you start becoming jaded yourself. So I'm very much trying not to be that, because I don't want to be that. And there's a lot of discourse going around at the moment about certain movies and certain shows, and I'm not going to go into it, but top and bottom of it is the old how to put it the old representation conversation is back up at the moment because of Little Mermaid, and because of offhanded comment from Keke Palmer about playing Rogue in an X-Men movie. And I have no issue with either, first off, let's just say that now. But it's just going round and round in circles, and no one's listening to each other, and from both sides. And I think everyone has legitimate opinions, and some obviously are just racist. And yeah, well, you know what I think about that, or I'd like to think you know what I think about that, which is obviously very much not a fan of racism, that sounds weird. Now that sounds weird. What I'm saying is, obviously I want more diversity in my movies and our movies, more diversity and more diversity in general. But it's so numbing when you make content around Star Wars and Marvel to see people who just hate Star Wars and Marvel, especially because of something so obvious as the words escape me. Inclusivism, equality, all that good stuff. It's that kind of why are you so dead against this when you are the people who enjoy this thing that has essentially stood for hope and diversity and equality for as long as it's existed. Obviously there's certain missteps along the way, because not every company, not every person who's ever made something has the morals of the modern world in, like 30, 40 years ago, because that's just not how, those things work, and progression happens only forward, not backwards. But yeah, so it's a weird situation at the moment where I feel like there's a lot of external and internal pressures that are leading me to not enjoy this as much as I want to. I'm trying to get there, but it's very, very difficult. And I suppose it's just a case of keeping trying, because like I said before, if you don't try, you get nowhere, like absolutely nowhere. But yeah, it's kind of just a situation where keep trying and see what kind of shakes loose, so to speak. And if it doesn't, then that's okay too. I think that's something that I need to remember a lot. Um, I'm going to kind of end it there, guys. I know it's a very quick one today, but I just wanted to kind of do a little kind of musing thing and kind of, you know, let that be that. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. And we'll be back next week, hopefully with something a little more lighthearted. In the meantime, guys, thank you very much. And I'll see you later.